Hi there, I am the user Yine for Real, and I've created this video to help you have a better understanding of how the game Rugby works. This video is dedicated to Reckless123, a user of chess.com, and an American who is interested in how rugby works, so I hope this helps. Anyway, on to what rugby players would call the basics. Although everything we will look at is technically the basics, this is the real basics of basics. Firstly, and probably most importantly, is the passing. In rugby, the ball can only be passed backwards. Now, you may be wondering how you are able to move the ball forwards if you can only pass backwards. Well, there are two ways to do this. You can kick the ball and chase it, but only players behind the kicker can chase the ball, or you can run forwards with the ball and try and evade tackles from the defenders. This leads me on to the next basic, tackling. Rugby is a contact sport, and therefore tackles are done by grabbing your opponent and pulling them to the ground. You can grab them anywhere, but the most preferable place is the legs, for this kills your opponent's legs and causes them to fall. There are some rules on tackling, however, to prevent injuries. High tackles, a tackle above the shoulder, and tackling someone while in the air is illegal. Certain tackles, like dump tackles, are illegal for the same reason. The final basic is the point system. The biggest points you can get is from a try, and is worth 5 points. To score a try, you must get the ball into the area behind the posts. Unlike in American football, where you can just run into the area, in rugby you must physically ground the ball with your body. Once you score a try, you get the chance to kick for a conversion. Conversions are worth 2 points, and require you to kick the ball through the posts. The final way to score points is by a penalty or drop kick. This works the same way as a conversion, but awards you 3 points. So a try is 5 points, conversion is 2 points, and a penalty or drop kick is 3 points. And that's the basics. The next thing we will look at is rucking. In the rules of rugby, if your knees hit the ground, you must release the ball. Of course, this can lead to the ball being taken by the opposing team, so a way round this is to ruck. This involves players from your team stepping over you to protect the ball. A player will then come and take the ball. When rucking, you can only go in a straight line over the tackled player. Coming in through the side or behind is illegal. Also, you can pick up the ball in a ruck, but if your knees are touching the ground, then you must leave the ball alone. Another basic is mauling. Sometimes when a player is tackled, they don't always hit the floor, and the ball is still technically live. To stop the other team ripping the ball from your hand, your teammates can come in and wrap around you. Like in rucking, coming in at the side or rear of a maul is illegal. Mauling can also be more of a tactical advantage than rucking, for because the ball is still live, it can be what is called driven. Basically, so many men are in the maul that they push the ball up the pitch. However, doing this can cause the maul to fall, and from then it becomes a ruck. Next we will look at scrumming. A scrum is another way to deal with a penalty. It is normally done for an incident like a knock-on. Remember, the ball cannot go forwards. Players from the team bind together and crouch down in front of the other team who have done the same. The ref will say crouch, touch, pause, and engage. On crouch, the teams crouch. On touch, players with free hands touch each other. On pause, the teams pause. And on engage, they engage. A player then puts the ball in the middle of the scrum. The two teams then push against each other, trying to push themselves over the ball. While this happens, the player in the middle tries to kick the ball backwards to the rest of his team. Scrumming is in fact very dangerous, and if the scrum collapses, it can cause serious injuries such as broken necks. If a scrum collapses, the scrum is simply redone. If a player is a cause of the collapse and keeps doing it, then he can be yellow carded, which sin bins him for 10 minutes. If the scrum continues to collapse, and a team is causing this, which leads to the ref getting fed up, then a penalty try is given against that team. Next we will look at lineouts. Now, just like in football or soccer, the ball is thrown back onto the pitch if it goes off at the side. The two teams line up against each other, the numbers must be equal, hence the name lineout. The ball is then thrown directly down the centre to give each team an equal chance. To not do so is illegal. Some players are lifted into the air to make the ball harder to intercept, and once caught, the ball is either passed off or brought into a maul. Now we will look at the players' positions. The team is normally split into two, forwards and backs. The forwards' role is primarily ruck, maul, scrum and line-out. These are the big lads of the team. The backs are tasked with the role of getting the ball to the try line because these are your fast runners. Each position of the team is defined by a number. Number 1 is the loose head prop who supports the hooker in scrums and jumpers in a line-out. Number 2 is the hooker who throws the ball in a line-out and tries to win the ball in a scrum by hooking it, hence the name hooker. Number 3 is the tight head prop who does the same as the loose head prop. 4 and 5 are known as the second row, and they are lifted in line-outs and provide the main pushing force in scrums. 6 and 7 are known as blindside and openside flankers, who will disengage from a scrum quickly and tackle opponents when the ball leaves the scrum. Number 8 is known as number 8, and his role is to provide the scrum half with the ball when it leaves the scrum. Number 9 is the scrum half, and he feeds the ball out from rucks, mauls, etc., and also feeds the ball into scrums. Number 10 is the fly half, who is the decision maker. He decides whether to pass the ball to the backs or kick for position. He also does most of the kicking at the posts. 11 and 14 are the wingers, who are the fast, agile players who can run far with the ball. 12 and 13 are the centres, who try and create gaps in the opposition's defence. Finally, 15 is the last line of defence in a breakthrough and when catching a kicked ball. Also, he must not fear getting tackled when catching a kicked ball. And that is basically the basics of rugby. Of course, the game is more advanced, and you can go into much more detail than what I have done, but this is as simple as I could actually make it. I hope you enjoyed it, and learnt something about rugby.